What is up, guys, and welcome back to Career Mode Delay Simulator 2019, shall I say. We're back with League Racing once again. This is SRL. We're also doing two races in one here. We're doing the SRL Belgian Grand Prix and the SRL Italian Grand Prix, because nothing really happened all too much in my Belgian Grand Prix. Let's be honest. I was a little bit off the pace, so yeah, it was interesting. But anyway, here we are for qualifying. 7/10 off in qualifying. I believe I didn't get my final lap in and at the end of that session, so that certainly didn't help things. But here we go, 5 red lights, and away we go for the race. Looks like it's been a pretty good start. We managed to jump Pres BC off the line. We might get Alan Hugo as well heading into turn 1, and that'll give us a podium position. Now, I know what you're thinking. Is this going to be race over? Or are we going to cruise home to P3 from here on in? No, we are not. That is certainly not the case. Lap 2, you can see we're trying to close in on the cars behind, cars ahead, shall I say, and we absolutely die on the Pouon curb, so that completely put pain to my race. And in terms of catching the lead guys, I think that was my chance of doing so out the window. So we had to come back through the field a little bit. So overtaking Pres BC here, we're trying to work him over through the middle sector. We managed to force him to not have a great run, and now we have the inside for the next left-hander of Pouon. I touched that curve again. I thought I vowed not to touch that curve for the rest of the race. Seemingly I didn't learn from my lesson. TPR Edge had an issue, promoting us up to P8 before a safety car was deployed 8 laps into this Grand Prix, essentially saving my race. DRC Jared also had an off in the early laps of this Grand Prix, so it was New Zealand Ryan all out on his own after the pit stops. But the safety car has closed the field once again. Jared is at the back, Ryan at the front. A few people have jumped us just due to having good track position, I would say. Just checking the race director for penalties. Nothing really to separate us at this stage. No one having penalties at the moment. So it's going to have to be all settled on track here. 12 laps left to go in this Belgian Grand Prix. Top Banter 07 having a little bit of a go at us and heading into the bus stop chicane, but he thought better of it, because I think he would have got done for an illegal overtake. It wasn't technically green flag running yet, but here we go. Ready for green flag running once again, heading into turn 1. Let's see if we can get past Exodona. But I quickly realized that my tires were just nowhere off the restart. I didn't do any tire warm-up, and it really shows here. I was just going absolutely backwards. The tires felt like they were igloos on this lap. You can see I'm turning in for Lake Almond. Nothing, absolutely nothing. There's no purchase, either front or rear, and it meant for the first lap or so. Yeah, we just went backwards and we lost so much time, unfortunately, again, where we could have challenged. We go and screw up a little bit. But here we go on the back of Top Banter. Our tyres have kind of normalised at this stage. We get the position back, and that is us up in a P4. So next up is V Fens. Then we've got Exodona, I believe, and then New Zealand Ryan leading the way. I said a provisional fastest lap, but that didn't last too long. Everyone else in front of me had fresher tyres, so I knew for the outset of this race that it was going to be very, very difficult to close in on the cars ahead. Unfortunately, I never got DRS off the cars ahead, and I kind of just fell into my own zone in the race where I felt pretty vulnerable to Alan Hugo, who overtook me on fresh, soft compound tyres. Here comes V Fens up the inside of Ryan on the penultimate lap, and now it looks like Ryan is going to finish in P2 in this race, having to defend from Hugo, who's on those fresh, soft compound tyres. He stopped during the safety car period, and he's got a whole bundle of pace. I believe V Fens has a penalty. Not too sure about Alan Hugo at this stage, but it's side by side for these two guys. Oh my goodness, Alan Hugo with the big boy dive bomb into the final corner, and I think Ryan gets the win on the basis of penalties. So Ryan was doing the best job he could, managing the gap to Fens, and just doing what he had to do to win the race. So that was that. For me, I was in no man's land, didn't quite have the pace of the cars in front, and just consolidated P5. So that was my Grand Prix. We're now going to move on to the Italian Grand Prix now, which I just did only a matter of hours ago. And I'm pretty fresh in this one. I know exactly what happened, so I can explain it all in pretty good detail. As you saw there, Jared got taken out by Fens. Unfortunately, it was just a massive, massive confusion Qualifying wise, I got P7. Only 3/10 away from pole. Again, for some reason, I didn't get my last lap in at the end of the session, so that really, really cost me. I thought my pace was pretty good this weekend, and I was hoping to, yeah, challenge for pole position maybe. But here we are for the race. The strategy is supers to softs. It is 2.7 seconds faster than the medium strategy, so we're going to employ that if we can, stopping on lap 10. The tyres might be a little bit dicey, stretching them to lap 10, and also stretching the softs to the end of the race, but if we can pull it off, if we can look after the rear tyres, we should be looking very, very good up against some of the medium runners. I believe Jared didn't know about this strategy, and he is going to be switching onto the mediums in the second half of this race. But here we go. Ready for the start of this Italian Grand Prix. 5 red lights, and away we go for the Italian Grand Prix. Change my helmet to pink. Hopefully that gives me some good luck. We'll have to wait and see. Heading into turn 1. Trying to get the run on Poms to the win here as we go around the outside. I've been done for an illegal overtake. And we've been half spun. But I honestly don't know what that was for. There was someone who crashed before we even got to turn 1. I must have just overtaken Roscoe Arm at the worst time. And yeah, that's really, really cost us. Had to lift off and give up many positions to let Roscoe go through. I really didn't want to get that stop-go penalty. I had to let him go as soon as I possibly could. And now you can see this is all just so messy because I just had no momentum off the start. Had to let people go by, and now I'm squabbling with people. I stuffed up that second sector chicane. It's all a bit of a snowball effect, and you can see just how much the leaders are getting away while we tangle with all these guys back here. So not the ideal start to the Grand Prix, but I feel like my pace is really good. So if we're lucky, we might be able to come back at the leaders, but it's going to be a big stretch knowing how fast those guys are. So let's buckle down and see what we can do here. Next up is DGRTP17. He is on the soft compound tyre, so we should have a bit of a pace advantage on him at the moment. But at this stage, it's not really worth risking it. Monza is such a unique circuit. It's so easy to overtake. And battling is almost, I don't know, discouraged. Like, I'm quite happy to sit in the slipstream and just save fuel and ERS if they're fast enough. And we just wait for the right moment. We get him up the inside into turn 1. And that is us up into P8. Next up is Roscoe Arm. And yeah, he should have some pretty decent pace. But yeah, honestly, my strategy from here on in now is to not panic all too much. We're going to pick off these positions as soon as we can. We got the inside into Lesmo 1. And that is us up into P7. So I'm not really going to force overtakes. I'm not going to be overly defensive, overly aggressive. I'm just going to wait for mistakes in front and just prey on those when they happen. And if they've got decent pace, then I'll stick behind them and save fuel, save ERS, because it's such a crucial element to your lap time at this circuit. Here we go again up the inside into turn 1. Again, not really having to force them into critical corners. I can just wait for DRS, wait for slipstream, and make the moves very, very easy. Next up is Laggy Person. Safety car is out again for the second time in 2 races. And that definitely changes the game for me. But we're going to be diving into the pits and pitting on the soft compound tyres to run to the end of this race. It looks like pretty much everyone else is having the same idea. Pretty much at our pit window now as Ryan dives in. We're going to have to double stack here at Force India, but hopefully it's not too bad since he was somewhere in front of me. Yeah, we're still getting held. So that's going to cost us quite a few positions in the pit lane, given that there were so many people who were close to us in the train. We lose a spot to Exodona. We lost a spot to Poms. 2 guys which we recently overtook, unfortunately. So we're going to have to do that work again. But now we are pretty much in the pack once again. And we could maybe challenge for the win if we get off to a good start, gain a few positions. And from there, see how we go. We haven't got any penalties at this stage. I believe I only have 2 warnings. So that's a pretty crucial tool to have up my sleeve for the back end of the race. I just need to keep it clean, and we'll see what happens with the back end. But P9, it's not the greatest track position, but there are still 2 people who haven't stopped yet. V-Fens and Master Berserk, who started on softs and mediums respectively, I believe. So not too sure what they're doing, but it should be an interesting race nonetheless. Here we go for the restart. Looks like Fens went nowhere off the line, and DRC Jared had to check up. Poms is going from absolutely nowhere to almost get the lead. And now Exodona splitting about 5 cars there, and now might take the lead heading into turn 1. That's absolutely madness up there. I did not want to get involved in that, so I just decided to back out. Alan Hugo has been spun out on the apex of turn 1, and I've been given I was given an illegal overtake for corner cutting, but to be honest, there was nothing much I could really do there. There was just a spun McLaren on the inside of the track. Meanwhile, here goes New Zealand Ryan at the inside of Jared into the middle sector chicane. This is for the effective, well, I say effective, it's for P2 in this Grand Prix. Somehow Exodona has gone from right in front of me in the safety car period to now leading this race. It was absolutely insane. I'll leave a link to the stream in the description and you guys can check it out. It was quite mad. Just everything that was going on in this race, and now we find ourselves in P6. Effective P5 once Fens makes his pit stop. He's on those old soft compound tyres and he's got no pace at this stage. So we got the inside into Lesmo 1. Lesmo 2, we've cleared him. Okay, let's relax a little bit. Let's chill out. The pack is starting to thin out a little bit, hopefully, and now we can claw onto the back of the race leaders here. Here is Exodona getting overtaken by Ryan. So Dona is on mediums. He's on the equal strategy with everyone else. So this is for track position. This is for the lead of the Grand Prix. DRC Jared is also on the mediums, but Ryan and myself are on softs. So we're probably best positioned to win this race if things stay as they are. But here goes Jared now on Exodona, recently overtaken by Ryan. He goes to the outside, and Dona's fighting this pretty hard here. Into the middle sector chicane. Yeah, Jared has to stick in behind for now, and all this squabbling is allowing Ryan to get away, so crucial for him to push now and build that gap. 1 second is a pretty crucial margin to have at a track like this. Here he goes around the outside again, Exodona defending to the inside, and Jared goes late under brakes, late as you dare. He locks up the rear tyres, but he gets it done into P2. I think Dona came back at him in that middle sector, but Jared had to fend him off, and now I think he has P2 essentially in this race. Meanwhile, Alan Hugo, who was challenging for the win, had to make a pit stop. He got damage, I believe, after that spin at turn 1, so that was really unfortunate, but he's making his way back through the pack. Meanwhile, for us, so much going on in this race. I'm just trying to explain it all in under this 20-minute video or whatever it is. We've got Poms up next. He's catching up to Dona, who looks like he's really struggling for pace now. But now we're going to see if we can get both of these guys in one foul swoop up the inside of Poms. We got a bit of slipstream from Dona there, so that was nice and handy. Into Parabolica. Thought about a dive, but Dona was even later under brakes and probably compromises his run out of the final corner a little bit here. And now we're going to see if we can get him here to the inside. He moves to the left, then back to the right. I don't know what he's doing here, but he swerved at us, and now we've lost our front wing. I think Poms is out of the Grand Prix, and that is our race down the toilets. That's our race over.
Right. Runs a little bit.
Good exit here from Ben. We'll see him get another place. Poms is right there.
Was Poms? Oh, this could end up Fences. This could end in a drama.
Dona's weaving.
Oh, Dona's weaving. What is it? He's just turned back. Oh my goodness, Poms out. Ben is still in the race.
I'm sorry, but that's all Dona's fault.
That is...
That's the second incident that Dona's caused.
Oh, man. That was very, very, very silly. It was just unnecessary. We had the inside. He was weaving around a little bit. Like, I want to say that it was his fault, and I felt like it was his fault at the time, but I don't know. Maybe I should have backed out of that. If we wait maybe a little bit longer, we get him up the inside or we get him on the next lap, and that's us with an easy podium for this Grand Prix, and now we find ourselves in P12 and not getting any points. So let me know what you guys think of that. I really don't know what to say. It was just a silly, silly incident, but I am willing to accept some blame for that, even though a lot of the people I have talked to have blamed Dona for that incident. But anyway, this is the battle for the win. Turns out Jared was coming back at Ryan. His mediums are phasing in quite well, and Ryan's softs are dying out. Ryan is in trouble in terms of fuel and ERS, but it's the same case for Jared, so I think it's just the case of the mediums phasing in really, really well here. So here he goes. Ryan is really closed in back towards Jared now. It looks like he's in striking range of getting this lead of the Grand Prix, heading into the final corner of this Italian Grand Prix. Jared goes around the outside, and I tell you what, he might pull it off. No, he doesn't. He's in the wall. Well, not in the wall, but in the gravel trap. GG. Came very, very close to getting the win there, but Ryan just holds on. So there we go, guys. That has been the Italian Grand Prix for SRL. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. That race seemed to go by like a flash. I was trying to keep up with the editing and explaining everything that was happening, but it was just so intense that sometimes you miss out on some finer details. But nonetheless, it is a victory for Force India once again. It's worth noting that the Team Force India have been getting a consistent streak of 49 podiums in a row in this racing league, dating back to almost the start of this whole league itself. Force India has been on the podium in just about every race since its creation, which is absolutely insane. I think if we get like another 4 or 5, we might equal Ferrari's real life podium streak, but what an insane stat to have in a equal cars league. That really is quite an unimaginable thing, but hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you thought about that incident with Exodona. If it's my fault, let me know. If it's his fault, let me know, but let's try and keep the bullying to a minimum. Let's be nice and civil if we can. Pace was alright, but just never got the results in the end. But hopefully in AOR, if we can have a clean race there, then really that's all that matters. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed. Until the next one, I think we're off to Singapore next week for SRL, so not too sure what the pace is going to be like there, but we'll hopefully get a win there nonetheless. Until then, I'll see you next time.